Good morning, Parshas Vigash, 1992. It's a new parsha. We're starting at the beginning. So this is about how to stay above the world, but within the world, meaning above the world and be able to change the world because we're not limited by the world, but still live within the, be here, be
Exciting.
in the world, but be able to change it from within. Okay, but not limited by it. So that's the goal that the Rebbe wants us to get to. So he's going to learn it from Yehuda, reaching out to Yosef in Mitzrayim, in Egypt, when he was trying to save his brother. So it's a sikh also from the 7th of Teves, which is my birthday. Tonight's my birthday.
Oh,
Tonight or tomorrow night? Today is, tonight's my birthday.
Mazel tov.
Maybe birthday, yes. Thank you. Okay, Duba Pamim Abot. We spoke many times. שבכל העניינים המסופרים בתורה משנה מכילים בתוכם הוראות ונצחיות לכל אחד ואחד מישראל, לכל ישראל בכל זמן. The Rebbe says we spoke many times, and this is an axiom that the Rebbe many times brings about how everything in the Torah is a lesson for us. Everything that's a story. It's not just a story, and it has internal instructions to each and every Jewish person. It's not just for the general, but each individually, and to the general public, to the general Jewish people, at any time and any place and in any situation, okay? Any time, place, and situation. So whatever our soul state is in, whatever our physical place is, and whatever the time zone or time of life or time of year or time, whatever, time, space, and soul. Now, general instruction services and also instructions that are fitting to the specific situation that the person is in, the special times that the person is in at that specific time, that specific place where that Jew is in. Okay, so it's all divine providence. Now, somebody actually mentioned to me, they don't believe so much in this idea of divine providence. And I was thinking about it. I didn't argue because it's not good to argue, right? Chavrachel might be able to give me a good question to ask this person, to challenge maybe, or to have them challenge themselves. But
fun.
Hmm?
That would be fun. That would be fun to think of.
Yes, please do. You're the master question asker. I gave you the title. But it's very hard, because it's very hard for me to get out of that mindset, because for me it's so clear that there is I've been learning from the Rebbe so much how to try to look at every situation and see what is that instruction for that happening right here, right now, in my situation that I'm in, how it relates to me, like to take something from me out of this situation. It's very empowering when you know that there's like little messages or big messages wherever you're going, and to try to tune into those messages. I can't imagine somebody not living their life that way and just having random things occur to them. Life is much more exciting when we have a lot of messages. Okay, so too with the parsha of the week, when we have to live with this time. It says, like, right, that's what the Alter Rebbe said, it's Hayom Yom, that we're supposed to live with the time. The time, meaning the instructions of the Torah portion. Veigash alav Yehuda, in general, that's what it was brought us. Veigash alav Yehuda says, now in this week's Torah portion, Parshas Veigash, Yehuda is coming to Yosef and he's approaching him. So the Rebbe is saying, the way that and the time and the place that Yehuda approached Yosef is all very significant. Where they were, what was the situation of who was in command and control, right? Why he approached him, how he approached him. All that is an instruction that's eternal, which clarifies and gives us an ability to understand the teichen avoda, the content of the service, the ofen hanaga, and the way of the activity that they did, of how a Jew is supposed to conduct himself. גם בהתאם לזמן הנוכחי, ברגעים האחרונים של הגלות, and in general also to our general time that we're in now, which is the end of Geulah, the end of exile. בסמיכות ממש לגאולה האמיתית והשלמה, right, we're mamish right at the time of the, so close to the Geulah האמיתית והשלמה, the true and complete redemption, כמדובר כמה פעמים, as we spoke a few times, and especially lately, the Rebbe saying. So the Rebbe says now it's time to also, everything that we see and hear or learn from in the Chumash, in the Parsha, and whatever's going on, to learn how it applies to us in our generation right now, the end of time of Galus and the beginning of Geulah, how it's connected to us being at the final stage of exile. So that's paragraph 1. Any question, any comment? You'll continue. הפרשה הראשונה מודגשת השייכות של הפרשה ויש להבידה עם הגאולה בהפטרה השבת שהיא מעניינה של הפרשה בה מדובר אודות הייחוד של מלכות יהודה ומלכות יוסף לעתיד לבוא. Okay, when we first take a scan of what's going on with the parsha and the haftarah, it looks like they're very connected, the parsha and the haftarah. What's going on in the parsha and the haftarah? The kingdom of Yehuda and the kingdom of Yosef become united once again. In the future, there's unity, okay? The two differing opinions, okay, become one, and there's no two rulers, there's one ruler. And this is in the Haftarah, this is what it says. It's from Yechezkel, from the prophet Yechezkel. He was told by Hashem to take an etzechad k'tovelav leYehuda, take one piece of wood and write on it Yehuda, and take another piece of wood and write on it Yosef. Hashem said, put them together, to become one, combine them. Hashem, and what was the significance in the prophecy? Hashem is saying, I'm going to take the Jewish people from amongst the nations of the world. I'll gather them together around. I'll make them to one nation. They'll have one leader, one king. But David of Dinasina, David, my servant will be the Nasi, will be the ruler, the leader for them forever. And the Goyim, the non-Jews will know that I am Hashem. I'm sorry, but I can't stop thinking about that. What happened on Hanukkah when Hashem made such ashgacha pratis, right? We're talking about everything, divine providence and time and place. So the place was in Turkey in the parliament with all the parliamentary people and all the videos going, and the place, so that was the place, and the time was Hanukkah, and the content was, the situation was that the prime minister, not the prime minister, one of the parliamentary leaders who was opposing the prime minister was angry at the prime minister of Turkey for being so good to Israel by keeping up trade with them. And he was saying how he ended off his speech with Allah's wrath will be on the Jewish people, okay? And as soon as he said that, he had a heart attack, he fell on the ground in front of everybody and died, okay? Now, that's more than just a miracle. I think it's a pella, right? We said miracles happen in the way of nature, or we have to kind of make it happen. We have to work a little hard, and sometimes we get a little bruised. And wonder is when it's just completely out of the ordinary. Everybody sees it's Hashem's hand. And yes, and went on all the networks and all the news. There was I don't think there was any news channel around the world that necessarily didn't, or at least in America for sure. Israel, Turkey, who knows, that didn't broadcast this miracle, this wonder. So, okay, yeah.
That's not hashgacha pratis.
And everybody, it's clear to people that Hashem, the wrath of Allah will be on him, not on the Jewish people. So, meaning Hashem is in control, not not what they're quoting in the name of Allah. So that's the Yedu, all the nations will know, we have these prophecies, Yedu, Goyim, Kin Hashem, all the nations, all the Goyim will know that I am Hashem, etc. אבל נוסף לכך שההפטרה מבטאת רק את השייכות לגאולה, אך אין Still, aside from that, the Torah expresses the connection to the Geulah, only the connection to the Geulah, but there's no learning from here, an instruction in actuality in the service of the Jewish people, how we are right before the Geulah. So there's no direct instruction from the Haftarah what we need to do to bring the Geulah upon us, and what we need to do right now, right before the Geulah. So the Rebbe says we need an explanation. Also the connection with the Torah to the Parsha, because it seems there's a contradiction. Yehuda approaching Yosef seems the opposite from Midavid Avdina Silam, that the King David will be the leader forever. Yehuda's from David is from Yehuda. In the Torah portion, we see that Yosef was the leader, not Yehuda. Yehuda had to go up to Yosef, right, and get permission, get the favors that he needed. So since I was Yehuda's a kukla, Yehuda needs him. He has to approach him. He has to ask him, please, to release Binyamin. And he said, please, my master, let your servant speak to you. Because you like Paro. So Yehuda is subjugated to Yosef. He says, you're important to me like a king. Why? Because Paro put Yosef in charge of the whole land of Mitzrayim. And he said to him, without you, Yehuda says to Yosef, nobody can lift their hand in their leg. Okay, and not only that, Mitzrayim was the big country of the world. It was Moshe Bakifa, Shel Kol Ha'atzad. It was ruling all the nations, all the rest of the nations in the world. Whereas in the future, it's like it's brought in the Haftarah, the wood of Yehuda, meaning which represents the rulership of Yehuda, will be above everybody, even above Yosef. They'll have one king, and who will he be? Of the David, Mishavet Yehuda. It will be the servant David from Yehuda. The David will be the king forever. Okay, so that's paragraph 2. Any questions? Any comments? Good question. Okay, Gimel. Yuben Zabaktin Beosher Chutz Tchilat Parashaim Siyuma כמדובר כמה פעמים שעל-פי הכלל, סופם בתחילתם, בסופם, ישנה שייכות מיוחדת בתחילת ובסוף הפרשה. So the Rebbe is saying we're going to understand this first by connecting the beginning of the parsha to the end of the parsha. The beginning is edged in the end is edged in the beginning, and we'll see the connection. גם בזה צריך הסברה בסיום הפרשה כתוב וישב ישראל בארץ מצרים בארץ גושן ויחצו בה ויפלו וירבו מאוד. Like it says at the end of the parsha, it says the Jewish people lived, they settled in land of Mitzrayim, in the land of Goshen, and they held it, and they settled it, and they multiplied and became many, had many children, etc. That shows that Yaakov and his children were very strong. Even when they were in the land of Egypt. Under the rulership of King Paro, Paro says, all the good in Mitzrayim is for you. And they get, according with his instructions, the best of the land. And they were able to settle it and hold on to it and become multiplied, many descendants, many people. The beginning of the parsha is different. Parsha emphasizes how Yehuda was on a low level, a difficult situation. He had to beg Yosef to help him. Because Yosef was the ruler of the whole land of Mitzrayim. This was in the situation before Yosef approached, revealed himself to his brothers. So it was the opposite exactly of the end of the parsha, where right, Yosef gives him the best of the land. The beginning of the parsha, they're in a completely different situation. Okay, so the Rebbe says we need to understand how's that. It seems like there's opposite situation. From the beginning of the parsha, end of the parsha. So what's the if we understand the connection between the beginning and the end, we'll be able to also understand this whole concept of Yosef and Yehuda and the unity and the rulership of Yehuda in the future, and how that's connected to what they went through in Mitzrayim. Okay, so there was paragraph 4. Yesh Lomar v'Rebbe is going to give the explanation. Yesh Lomar means it's the Rebbe's chidush, the Rebbe's insight. Al pi hashkafa af al pi shebashkafa shana nir shagashat Yehuda l'sot mevatet et hakosher v'Yosef maniga shalom tzimtzayim v'ech sheyudi zakuk elav כשמתבוננים בזרם שיהודה מתנהג כאן בתוקף והחבות בריתקייט יוצאים מן הכלל. So the Rebbe says, if you look deeper, you see, even though on the surface it seems who's strong here and who's the when Yehuda goes to Yosef, it seems that Yosef is the one who's strong and Yosef is the one who's the leader and Yehuda needs him. But the Rebbe says, if you look deeper, you see that Yehuda, he was the one who was strong. He was the one who acted with strength and courage, breitkeit, expansiveness, right? He wasn't afraid. And it was beyond Yotzim min haklal, extraordinarily. He acted with the strength and the breitkeit. The breitkeit means like rachelus, like expansiveness, and beyond the normal. Okay, and he was also the leader of the Shvatim. It says in footnote 17. Yehuda was like the king, the leader of the tribes of his brothers. Now, Yosef Yosef was just he was like the bakach. How do you say bakach? He was like the one who represented Paro, but he was kind of like the agent of Paro, kind of thing. Hashalit al-Aretz. Paro was the ruler of the land, and Yosef was his agent. So without Yosef's permission, people couldn't do anything in the land of Mitzrayim. Especially since Paro had a rulership over the other countries too. Yosef was like Paro. Still, we see what happened with Yehuda. Without knowing that this is Yosef's brother, he didn't know he had a special or a special ability to take his heart, right? He just saw him as the leader. How did he act though? He wasn't fazed by this. And he acted with all the breitkeit, all the expansiveness, without even asking, beginning from Yosef permission, he went to Yosef. With strength. He spoke with him harshly. That's why he clarified, don't be angry. Even though he put himself into danger, because he knew what Yosef could do to him because he was chutzpah, like Yosef could have killed him. Okay. So we see the fact that he even approached him doesn't show weakness, it shows strength, the strength of Yehuda. I have a flashback for an incident because of what's going on with Gaza. I remember that I was much younger, many years ago. It must have been it was probably 18 years ago, 17, 18 years ago. And it was when they were thinking of giving Gaza away. And there was a politician, a Jewish politician, actually a politician who was a senator in Congress, and he was giving a talk in LA, and it was for a private group, and somehow I was invited by Ashkacha Pratis to this group. My friend was the one who was coordinating it, so even though it was for donors and investors and this and that, she invited me to come. She wanted, I don't know why, she wanted some moral support. I'm not sure what she wanted from me, but she invited. By Ashkacha Pratis, I'm supposed to be there. So here I am, in my, 20s or 30s. What the hell was I? I guess I was just turning 30, and or just turned 30, or very young. And there's a senator, and I saw this as an opportunity to speak to him and tell him how this disengagement from Gaza is not a good idea. And that he knows it because he was a senator that had been to the Rebbe. And I told him, you have to do something. I came up to him and I said, what are you doing in Congress to speak to Sharon to actually make sure he does not have to give back and doesn't give Gaza to the terrorists and disengage. And I told him, from the Rebbe is very much against this. And he said, no. He said, listen, we rely on Sharon. He knows what he's doing. And I said, but the Rebbe knows. The Rebbe said, no, not to do it. He said, well, no, we trust Sharon that he knows what he's doing. And that was it. There was nothing I couldn't convince him. I remember I was very disappointed. It took me a lot of guts to go up to him and speak to him. It wasn't like he knew who I was or I was invited or anything. I just was like it was like it took a lot of chutzpah, like Yehuda over here. I wasn't putting my life in danger like Yehuda, but I could have been I was embarrassed to go up to him and who am I? And but it didn't help. Okay, who knows? Anyway, so the goal is we have to not be embarrassed, not be afraid, not be limited by what if there's something that needs to be done or said or activated, and we know that this is truth and this is right, and we need to. It's important for Hashem, for the Rebbe. We need to do it. Okay, so that's yeah. Apparently, we didn't do enough. So at least now. We should be very strong and very, the Jewish people, whoever's in charge, not be afraid to speak up, not be afraid to stand for what's right, and not be, okay, this is what Yehuda did, and not be afraid. Okay? Yesh lomar. So now, okay, so now we can see the connection between the beginning of Parsha, when it seems like Yehud is weak, but no, the Rebbe says he's strong. And we can see the strength of the Jewish people at the end of the Parsha in the land of Egypt, right? It says, the Jewish people lived in the land of Goshen, and they held on to it, and they became multiplied, and they became many. And we can see this also in the Haftarah, where David, my servant, is the leader for the Jewish people, for all the Jewish people, both sides, right, forever. And this is similar, the Rebbe says, to the strength of Yehuda when he went to Yosef, okay? So this courage and this tenacity and this fearlessness of Yehuda, this is his strength. And that's what we're seeing here at the beginning of the Parsha. That's what we need to look at. Not that he was beholden to Yosef, but the fact that he wasn't afraid of Yosef and he wasn't afraid of consequences. He did what he knew was right. Yesh lomar, the Rebbe says, Yesh lomar, we should say, Shatok, Yehuda going to Yosef, that, him going, right? Everything that a person does gives koyach to others, right? So Yehuda going to and approaching Yosef without fear gave the strength that afterwards Yaakov and his children should be able to settle in the land of Egypt, but often because in such a way that what? Not only they won't be under the leadership and rulership of Mitzrayim, but they will hold on to it and they'll become multiplied and strong. More than this, this will bring to a situation where my servant David will be a nasi, a leader for them forever. So the fact that he had that courage, Yehuda, to approach Yosef and tell him what needed to be said, that gave the strength for the Jewish people afterwards to be able to live in Mitzrayim, be multiplied, hold strong. And that was also a situation that brought afterwards the ability for Yehuda to be David, to be this leader of the Jewish people later on in times of Mashiach, okay? Forever and ever. So now the Rebbe says that we have to explain something else. More. It needs more clarification. So he's asking another question. והגם שבנוגע לתוקף של יהודה אין כל נפקא מינה שהוא לא ידע שזהו יוסף. אך אחרי שנתקע שזה יוסף, הרי לפי אמיתת העניינים כבר לא זקוקים בכלל לתוקף של יהודה כדי לפעול ויחסו בה. Okay, let's see what the question is. The fact that Yehuda goes up to Yosef, because Yosef, he thought was, or he is the second to the king of the nations of the world. This is before Yosef told them who he is. Welcome, Melissa. We're in paragraph 5. Hey, Parshas Vigash Famachos. That was asking a question. This strength of Yehuda, that he was able to approach. Oh, there's more people to say hello to. I'm sorry. Let me see who's on the screen. Fumala, welcome, Fumala. Okay. Paragraph 5. So we see the strength of Yehuda. This is answering your question, Fuma. You're asking about Yehuda and Yosef and coming together. The Rebbe is saying, so I'll paraphrase very quickly. All what we saw, that initially it seemed like Yehuda is weaker than Yosef because Yosef is the leader, the second to the king. He's the one who's going to decide, and Yehuda has to beg him for a favor to save Binyamin, right? Now, that's on the surface. The Rebbe says if we look deeper, we see that actually who was strong here? Yehuda. Yehuda was the one who had that chutzpah. He had that expansiveness. He was fearless. He could have had terrible consequences from Yosef, and he was who acted with tremendous strength and courage and went up to Yosef. So he had the tukif, and because he had that strength, that's why the Jewish people were able to live in Mitzrayim, his brothers and his father, and have children and settle there. And that also gives the koach for later on for the David HaMelech to be the Mashiach, to be the king over all the Jewish people forever and ever. This is started from Yehuda approaching Yosef with that strength. So this also, when it comes to Yehuda, he didn't know that Yosef was his brother. Okay. It seems that after Yosef revealed himself, they don't really need Yehuda doesn't have to be so strong in order to be able to have this ability for them to hold on to the land and control the land and be, Jewish in Mitzrayim in a strong way. The Rebbe is asking a question. It seems simply that the strength of being able to hold on to the land in Mitzrayim and take control and have many Jewish children and not be swayed by Mitzrayim, but to hold on to it in a strength of the Jewish people and be Jews in the land of Mitzrayim. It seems that was because of Yosef they were able to do that. Because Hashem sent Yosef to be the one to, as Yosef said, Hashem sent me before you to be able to give you livelihood in this in Mitzrayim and save you. It's because of Yosef that they were able to get all the goodness of the land of Egypt, of Mitzrayim. And Yosef was the one who commanded and gave them the ability to have the best of the land, in a way that they would therefore have plenty, and they were able to have many children and have many become multiplied. So it seems like it has nothing to do with Yehuda's strength that they got all this. It seems like it's all because of Yosef that they got all this. So this is a question. Why are we saying that it's Yehuda's strength of being able to approach Yosef that brought about the strength of the Jewish people to be able to hold on to the land of Mitzrayim and become multiplied in many? It seems it's more, we should give the credit to Yosef, that it was because of him that everybody had this strength. Also, we have to understand the Torah, also they're saying, how do we connect the strength that Yehuda had, this chutzpah, this unlimited ability to go without fear, before Yosef revealed him? How is that connected to the Haftarah, where it says, my king, David will be the king and the leader forever? Also, it seems still the opposite, that in the Parsha is not connected to so much to the Haftarah, because in the Parsha, Yosef is the one who's in charge of and the leader of Mitzrayim. As he revealed afterwards, it's Yosef who's the one who's the leader. And it seems opposite of the Haftarah, where it says that David will be the king forever, and he's from Yehuda. So the question still lies: what's the connection between the Parsha and the Haftarah? It seems that it's not. It's the exact opposite. It's in the Parsha, Yosef is in control, and in the Haftarah, David HaMelech is going to be the king forever over everybody, and he's from Yehuda. בסגנון אחר, לפי שאמיתת עניינים של ספר צדיק הוא שליט על הארץ, מבטא יוסף עצמו את התוקף של בני ישראל במצרים, ואז לא זקוקים בשביל זה לתוקף בעיקר של אבידה. And also, in other words, Rebbe says, the truth of that Yosef is a tzaddik and he was the ruler of the land of Mitzrayim, that expresses that Yosef himself is the strength of the Jewish people of Mitzrayim, and we don't need the strength of Yehuda. We didn't need, what was the purpose of Yehuda going to and approaching Yosef? Yosef anyway was the leader, right? Yosef could have brought it about. What did we need? Yehuda to come to Yosef and show his strength and his chutzpah and his fearlessness. Yosef was in control. He could have done it all without Yehuda. Okay? But since everything Torah is true and eternal, even like a possibility in Torah, like a possible opinion, also has a learning from it. But here we do see that actually, in actuality, Yehuda had to go to Yosef and enact a certain amount of courage and fearlessness, tenacity, and that was his strength needed to take place here. Why? Must be. The Rebbe was saying we must be learning from this, not something just for that moment, that Yehuda had to go to Yosef. It wasn't just for that generation or that time period, right? Because really, Yosef had the power to do without Yehuda, it seems, right? He was the ruler, second to the king. What do we need the strength of Yehuda over there? So it wasn't just something for that moment that was needed for that time. It created also a chiddush, something new, in compared to the strength that Yosef had at that time, meaning it brought a new concept of strength of the Jewish people that Yosef didn't have on his own, even as the leader. And specifically because of Yehuda's courage, tenacity, strength, right? And putting himself out there on the line, right? Even though there could have been consequences, that gave the strength that they were able to hold on to the land, meaning to multiply and to become many, right? To the Jewish people to prosper in the land of Mitzrayim. This also became the preparation for the Jewish people to be able to have David, my servant, be the Nasi, be the leader forever and ever in the future. So Yehuda's going to Yosef and not having that courage, something for us to learn, to be like that and to have that, even if it seems like it's not necessary. Yosef could have done it on his own, but no, there needed to be that strength of Yehuda over there, that chutzpah. And that helped bring about the strength of the Jewish people in Mitzrayim, and it brought the strength of the strength of the Jewish people in the future by having to give the power to David Avdid Mashiach, who's from Yehuda, to be the Nasi forever. And Lesh Tomar, the Rebbe says, now we have to say this Rebbe's Chiddush. That's, we can understand this and see this also what it says, that they sent Yehuda before him, right? Yaakov sent Yehuda before him to Yosef, to show him the place in the land of Goshen where they were going to settle. Yaakov sent Yehuda to go prepare the land where they were going to settle in Mitzrayim, how they will settle into it. מכיוון שיוסף הנהיג את ארץ מצרים, והוא על פי ציווי פרעה נתן את מיטב ארץ ליעקב ולבניו, מדוע זקוקים ליהודה לפנות לו מקום לראות איך להתיישב בה. מובן שדווקא טוב שיהודה וכוחו לפעול זאת. Because it seems, why did they need to send Yehuda ahead? Yosef is there, he can take care of it, right? He was a tzaddik, he was very righteous. So why did Yaakov need to send Yehuda to go and prepare the land. It was the best of the land. What did they need Yehuda? It seems though that to show that Yaakov and his sons, they needed Yehuda to go and prepare something and put his strength into the land, because with his strength they were able to take control of that area, that they would be strong Jews and have many children and right be the Jewish nation in the land of Egypt. Bais Chana, so the Rebbe explains his chiddush. Nekudat, what's the explanation? Okay, so this is the whole answer. This is the beginning of the answer for all this. The Rebbe is saying this is our instruction. The strength of a Jewish person, ba'olam hazeh, in this world, ubizman galut, in the time of Golus. What is it? Where's our strength from? Because all the nations of the world are called by the name of Mitzrayim, meaning that every Golus that we're in since Egypt is something that we need strength of a Jew throughout the Golus. Gufa yachol liyot b'shnei ofanim, could be in two ways. There could be a tokef shelo rak kefi ha'efshari lefi ha'klalim, that the Jew has strength only according to the rules. Shel chukei haTorah, the rules of nature, v'hanagat along the way the world runs. And according to this, according to the time of exile, where there's the midos, there's the limitations, there's the parameters of the exile, and there's the laws of the countries that they're in, etc., etc. So that's one way. You can have the strength very defined and limited based on the rules of nature and the ways of the world, or a Jew can stand beyond all the aspects of the world, in the nations of the world, and be above and beyond Golus, exile. Not only that, not only is above them, but is acting with them, behaving with them with tokef, with strength. Until he has the strength to also change the rules, the laws, and the activities, the way of the country, their activities, or their way of doing things. Never says, this is Rebbe's chiddush, שהתוקף של יהודה פועל שיהודי הוא לא רק מושל ושולט בעל הבית על אומות העולם בזמן הגלות, לפי הכללים של העולם והגלות, כפי שזה היה אצל יוסף, אלא באופן שהוא נמצא לגמרי למעלה מזה כדלקמן. We see that the strength of Yehuda activates and affects that a Jew not only has control, and he has power, power and control, he's ruling, and he's a balabait, he's the owner, the host, not the host, the balabait is the owner of what's going on in time of Golus in the nations of the world, according to the rules of the world and the exile, like it was by Yosef, but in a way that he's above and beyond all everything that's going on in the world. So the Rebbe did, this is micro and macro. This is this is very important for us to read now, because now, like, Israel has a lot of pressure from the nations of the world, and Israel, for its survival, is saying to them, no, we're going to do what we need to do to survive. And Netanyahu has to be very strong. And he did get a lot of strength from the Rebbe to stand strong. And he should continue to stand strong, to say, we need to do what we need to do. We have command and control of ourselves, and we need to hold strong, and we need to be safe, and we need to be in control of our own our country, and we can't be dictated by what the nations of the world are telling us that they think should act. Yeah. So this is in the macro and also in the micro in our own. We don't need to go follow what's being published in and social media, or things that people think they consider the norm. We're not limited by what people think this is the way you're going to be able to survive or succeed. No, we have a completely. Remember how the Rebbe said, I don't know if you remember, but for many, many years, the Rebbe was opposing sending kids to college. And in the 50s, 60s, 70s, that was very, 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 very hard thing to accept, right? So And the Rebbe was very strong about it, not to send kids to college. And now we see that the colleges they've fallen in their esteem, and they're falling even more. And there's a lot of political influence and financial influence that's affecting their policies and their curriculum and everything. And we see it's a lot of lies and falsehood. So aside from the physical danger that people have from going there, so there's the emotional trauma, and there's a lot of danger. So okay, so what we have, the educational system and the teachings of Torah that we have are much more potent, powerful, important than anything, especially when it comes to how to live our lives and how to have character and good character and everything, and even physical and financial success. Okay, now it's being proven. Yeah, where do we get it? We get it from Torah. That's the true emes. Truth is much more important than lies. Okay, much more important and powerful. Okay, now Vav, paragraph 6, and then we'll end. I don't even know if we'll finish all 6. Now he's there saying we can understand this even more from how Mordechai, the Jew, stood in time of King Achashverosh. What did he do? He was similar to the situation of Yehuda. Who stood before Yosef. The Jews were then also under the rulership of the exile of Paras and Madai. They were under the leadership and rulership of King Achashverosh. Okay. Still, Mordechai did not bow down. When it came to bowing down to Haman, he didn't follow the rule. Even though all those other servants were bowing down to Haman, because that's what the king commanded. Mordechai was fearless. He stood strong, even when the other servants were saying, "Why are you going against the command of the king?" And also, okay, so he's bringing what happened by Achashverosh when he made this feast. It says in the Megillah, the king established that they should do the will of each and every person there. Ish v'ish, it says. Now, the Gemara says on this verse in Megillah Esther, it says that Achashverosh said to do each and every person's bidding and will. The Gemara says, "Shapush u'lasot kilton Mordechai v'Haman u'Mordechai dechtiv ish Yehudi u'Haman ktiv ish tzaveh." The Gemara says the explanation is to do according to the will of Mordechai and Haman. Mordechai, it says he was a Jew, and Haman, it says he was a bad, enemy. So the Gemara says that Achashverosh commanded everybody gets what they want. The servants had to do the bidding of each and every person, whether it was Haman, Mordechai, were the complete opposite. But Midrash, now the Midrash explains this in 2 ways. What does it mean to do the will of each person? The will of Mordechai and the will of Haman. So the first Midrash explains, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ani yotzei midei b'rtai v'atam mevakesh lasot kirtzon ish v'ish, v'nog shebalam shnei bnei adam מבקשים לישא אישה אחת, יכולה היא להינשא לשניהם, אלא או לזה, כן 2 ספינות שהיו עולות ברימון בחוף, אחת מבקשת רוח צפונית ואחת מבקשת רוח דרומית, יכולה הרוח אחת להנהיג את שתיהם כאחת, או לזה, למך שני בני אדם באים לפניך בדין, איש יהודי ואיש צר ואויב, יכול אתה לצאת ידי שניהם, אלא שאתה מרומם לזה וצולד לזה, היינו שאחשוורוש עסק בכך טעות, מכיוון שאין זה שייך לבצע 2 הפכים בבת אחת, כרצון מרדכי איש יהודי וכן כרצון המן צר ואויב, לכן כאן תורה כתוב כי לא יכול לצאת ידי מרדכי והמן בן מדים. So the first Midrash explains that Hashem says to say, listen, I can't really give each person what they want according to their desire, because if 2 people want, let's say, to marry the same woman, no, she can't marry both of them. Or if 2 two people are on a boat, one wants to go this direction, one wants to go that direction, depending on the wind. You can't have both directions. You have to do either this one's will or this one's will. The same thing if you have a Jew who wants good and you have a opposer who wants the destruction opposite. You can't go by both of their desires. You have to choose one over the other. So therefore, the Midrash says Achashverosh made a mistake. He cannot do two opposite things at once. He couldn't do the will of Mordechai and the will of Haman at the same time, and that's okay. So this is the parish of the Midrash. This is the Midrash is explaining that Achashverosh was silly. He couldn't do that. The other Midrash says, "Bihuna b'shem Avim ben Levi Omer lefisha b'olam hazeh bisman she'ofetz b'nim min hashevet enu achtom min hashevet aval asit lavo b'kibbutz Golios amar Kadosh Baruch Hu ani mebi ruach irgasti l'olam sheshtei ruchot mishomshot bo mihu zeh she'oseh ratzon Yahweh zeh Kadosh Baruch Hu shekatuv bo ratzon Yahweh yaseh כלומר, אף שיהיו בית זה לעומת זה, יעשה השם רצון שניהם, היינו רצון יהוה יעשה ואת שרתם ישמע, שאף ששאלת זה מתנגדת לזה, ישמע השם לשניהם. מה שאין, כן אחשוורוש שלא יכול לעשות רצון בית אהבה והמנגדים, ואף על גב דאמר בית בני אדם מבקשים לישא שפחה אחת, כלומר היינו שבמנהג העולם הטבעי, כי סתם בני אדם כדי תאמר בנוהג שבעולם הבא בירא השם, יפיק השם רצון שניהם. היינו שהקדוש ברוך הוא בין המתו לעתיד לבוא ינהג באופן של לעשות כרצון איש ואיש. So the second Midrash brings up, it says, yeah, in this world now, we can't do both opposing wills. But in the future, Hashem is going to be able to do opposing wills as long as it's going to be two people that are Yeshurei Hashem, that are God-fearing. He'll be able to do the will of both. Hashem in the future, the way Hashem will rule the world and run the world, he'll be able, Hashem will run the world in a way that each person will have their will. And as long as they're God-fearing, they'll each have their will, even if they're opposites. So the Rebbe is asking of us. מסתימת לשון הגמרא נזכרת לערך כרצון איש ואיש לעשות כרצון מרדכי והמן בלי שום שלילה בדבר, משמע שגם מצד אחשוורוש יש מקום להנהגה כזאת. לכאורה, איך זה מתאים עם דברי המדרש מוטטן לפי שני פירושים שאי אפשר לבצע שני רצונות הפכים, ואפילו לפי הפירוש השני במדרש, הרי זה בכוחו של הקדוש ברוך הוא, הוא יעשה זאת דווקא לעתיד לבוא. So the Rebbe is asking on the technical, the way it's brought in the Midrash and the way it's brought in the Gemara. How do we understand this whole thing? Based on all the questions that the Rebbe asks, he's going to be able to give a deeper explanation so we can understand what this means, the desires of each and every one of us, and how Hashem fulfills it. Okay, and what we are to learn from this. According to the rules of nature and the above nature. Okay, so here we go. This is the Rebbe's question. If you don't get the question, don't worry about it. Okay, you're going to get the answer, hopefully. But the question is, when the Gemara says, by the will of each and every man, to do the ratzon, to do the will of Mordechai and Haman, without stating, that there's a problem, must be that even from the side of Achashverosh, there is a place to be able to do the will of both. But this doesn't fit with what the Midrash says, even according to both Pirushim, that it wasn't possible. So the Gemara says Achashverosh was doing each person's will, and no problem, even though they're contradictory. The Midrash says no, it was a problem, and it's not possible. That you can't do two things opposite. So, and even according to the second Midrash, that it was possible, but only Hashem could do it in the future, not now. So even the Midrash that says it is possible to do possibly opposite desires, but that's only in the future and only through Hashem. So how is it that the Gemara, though, seems to have no problem with this? So there must be something about what the Gemara says, that there is no problem with doing each one's opinion, each one's will, even if it's opposites. And the Rebbe is going to explain how. Should we continue or should we continue this tomorrow? Maybe we'll do it tomorrow. We have time.
Yeah, give more time to it, I think.
Yeah, it's 8:30. And I'll do the psukim, and then we can, if you want, you can ask or discuss. Okay. Torah tzivilanu Moshe Kilas Yaakov. Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. or Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad b'chol dor v'dor v'dam milosas atzmo כאילו הוא יצא היום ממצרים. כל ישראל יש להם חלק לעולם הבא שנאמר והם כולם צדיקים ועולם ישוע ארץ נצר 200 מעשה ידי לספר כי קרוב לך דבר מאוד בפיך ובבבך לעשות והנה השם ניצב על עמלו כל הארץ כבודו מביט עליו ובכן כועס עליו במודו קרוי ותסבר לכינוס השמיים ועש הארץ ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבחך ובפיסך ובלכתך ובדרך ובשכבך ובקומך הגעתי ולא מצא עשיית העמין לא הגעתי מצא עשיית העמין הגעתי מצא עשית העמין ואהבת לך כמוך רבי עקיבא אומר זה כל הגדול וקרוב וזה כל האדם וסך להתבאס ובאס כל המקדמים תחתנים להסתכל תרזה ותחתנים ישמח ישראל ועושה פירוש שכל מי שהוא מזה ישראל יש לו לשמוח בשמחת השם אשר שש ושמח בדירסו בתחתנים יחי אדוננו מורנו ורבנו מלך המשיח לעולם ועד. I think I went a little fast today. I hope it was clear though. Is there any questions or comments?
I'm thinking of the Rabbi who, when people have two opposing opinions, he shows how they're both the same. And I'm thinking that this might be what's ahead. It's good to think of what's ahead instead of knowing. I think it's good to stop here.
Yes. Yes.
But Rebbe always finds how both are true.
Both are true. But there's something, by understanding it on a deeper level, then you can see them both true. That's what they're
Right.
Liverpool
Like
said.
above everything
Yes.
that's going on, then
And you need Chassidus for that. So that's over and over again. And all the pairs of the Rebbe brings the back and the forth and the revealed and he shows that the only way to really understand it and how it makes sense on all aspects is only when you learn it with Chassidus.
Yes.
Things you could have a lot of questions. Why this and how this and what does this mean? And it's not clarified unless you have the understanding of it on a deeper level. Yep.
Right. That's this guy's problem. He doesn't have Hasidus yet. The
Which-
guy that doesn't believe in Hashgacha Pratis.
Yeah, and the Rebbe had that clarity, and he was able to see through everything and how it's what the real inner truth is that we need to bring Hashem revealed into the world, and we have the strength and the power to do that, and we can't just leave it up to like they say, yeah, beseder, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
We have to act. We can't just be passive and just wait for Hashem to save us. That's the Rebbe's teachings of you. And not only that, we have this opportunity to bring Hashem revealed into the world through all this. We have the opportunity to bring it's all from Hashem and through Hashem and by Hashem, but we're the one who make it happen. So we're connecting ourselves with Hashem. We're showing that it's doing Hashem's will and being connected with Hashem that brings it about. And we are the one who, with our strength, and we're going to go into our strength and tenacity and our great care and our belief and our connecting to the truth is what makes it happen and needs to make it happen and brings it about. And that brings about Mashiach to be the leader over the whole world. So it's not just, Hashem, that's, I guess we need miracles and wonders, not just one or the other. Because it's Hashem and us activating these things. It's not, with the miracles, we have to take more part in it. In the miracle and the wonders, it's more Hashem taking part. But we both need, even in the wonders, when the Yidden were around Jericho, they also had to go out and fight. Now, the fighting ended up being in a huge miraculous way, in a wondrous way, but they still had to take action.
Mm-hmm.
So we're the one with Hashem, we're activating it, we're revealing Hashem within us and within the world. It's us. Hashem wants us to be part of this. It's very important. We can't just sit around and wait for things to happen. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Okay.
It might be, I wonder what that guy would think did he see the video of the guy speaking have a heart attack?
Which guy?
The guy speaking in Turkey, having a heart attack after he said that.
I don't know.
I wonder if he saw that. I wonder how he'd explain such a thing. It's kind of hard to explain without having Hashgacha Pratis.
Correct. Yeah. How do I'm wondering, do you speak to any other people? And it's a good survey to try to do. Go to like even non-Jewish people or people who are, on the fence, like a little confused or this and that, and ask them, what do you think this means?
Yeah. I'd love to hear that. That would be a good survey.
It's a good survey. Okay, well, it's interesting.
You could do it with one. You could start with that guy.
You know, we could also look at the comments and if you go to these news channels and they all posted this video of him having that and see what the comments are.
I saw the comments, and I only saw them sometime, a couple days ago, but I noticed that they were different than all the rest of the comments on different things. These were all positive. They were all seeing what happened. Every one of them. No one was saying, I don't know. No one was. How could you say something against? What could you say even against that? You couldn't think of the words. But that's the only thing that could be. They were saying,
There's another video that my husband sent me that I remember seeing a few years ago. So it didn't happen just now. It happened a few years ago, but not too long ago. I don't know, but I remember seeing it before. There was in Pakistan, I think it was. They're on a stage, and somebody was also blasting Israel and saying also these terrible things about Israel. And he said, if what I'm saying is a lie, then the stage should fall down or fall over or something like that. I don't remember the wording. I just saw the video. It's translated from Arabic, so I don't know the exact wording, but all of a sudden there was an earthquake in the whole stage.
Oh, wow.
All these people on the stage, him and all the people, they all fell to the ground. And you can't, it's on video.
That's amazing. I was thinking that Biden, or when he says that you have to have a ceasefire, that's when he should fall. He falls, so that would be a good time for him to fall. Not to hurt himself, but it would be funny.
Yeah. God willing, we'll see all the miracles play out. We're going to need opposition until it brings out the true inner strength of the Jewish people. Until we are pushed to the wall.
Oh yeah, until it brings out the strength.
It's about Yerushalayim, and until we're pushed, till we say no, we're going to fight till the end for Yerushalayim. They're going to keep pushing until we hold totally strong. The final fight over Yerushalayim is going to be probably the one that's just going to that's it. We're not giving the Yerushalayim up.
Rivka said that they're now protesting again in the streets. Did you know that they're protesting to have a ceasefire?
Who?
The big crowds in Israel,
Oh.
like they did against the government. They're protesting like that. I don't know how big the crowds, but Rivka said that they're back to protesting in big crowds.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. But that causes the opposite reaction. Maybe that makes us stronger to stick with what we know is what we need to do.
Yeah, unfortunately, if people are doing that, then it gives strength to the enemy too.
Yes, it does.
So yeah. So what do you suggest, Alyssa? I mean, how we do about this?
Yeah, right. Good question.
So what do you know?
Well, the only thing I can see is just to get louder and stronger, and to say he says we're going not until Hamas is gone. That's what he says, and it keeps showing the tunnels and like a city under there, and showing people like this is what we're up against. There's a new writer, I didn't read him yet, but in the news of the Shava that says, you can't really wipe out these people. I don't know what he's going to say, but I don't want to read that right away. I do.
Yeah, we did read from the Rebbe, I think it was last week. There was the transformation of the chutzpah of the nations of the world. Some of the evil of the nations though will be, or the chutzpah will be removed, and some of it will be transformed. Yeah,
I just, that's what I think. We just have to keep being that strong, just as strong as always. And even though, they get stronger by seeing these people demonstrate, we don't get weaker by people demonstrating.
We need to we need to pray and fast that those demonstrators will see the truth and stop demonstrating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that will come too. That will come.
Yeah, so this is part of the
Well,
right.
I was just with, we had a couple gatherings celebrating the release of the first hostage from here
Oh,
from
you
Illinois.
did?
Yeah,
Yehudit? Oh, neat.
Yehudit.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's
I did.
awesome. Tell us.
Yeah, so I think that her message was so powerful because she was in the middle of that klipa, and she was very strong. She like she was telling them what the Torah says. She's like they're brainwashed. So she was
Yes.
trying to explain to them, this is what the Torah says. This is for everybody.
Wow.
And she was also like she was holding this idea that she's very important. Like, no matter what's taken from you, you cannot let your spirit be taken. Once your spirit's taken, that's when you're a victim.
Yes.
But she wouldn't let her spirit be taken. She was like saying the Tehillim that she knew by heart. She was inspiring her daughter, getting her to laugh, envisioning tzaddikim with her. And she was very strong. Like she told them, I need kosher. And she wouldn't like compromise. Like, she was like just a representative of God, and not with hate, but with elevating, bringing.
Wow.
And I have to like give a shout out that I didn't know that she started out actually with Rivka Ben Chion, was where she first
Yeah.
started her journey in Yiddishkeit.
I'm not surprised.
And
Yes,
I
it's
mean,
true. I
Rivka
was
is,
there.
yeah, so I didn't know that, but that's where she started, and all that foundation of her being able to be strong and being able to say Tehillim and be able to speak Torah and see tzaddikim in front of her, and be inspired, like having a Geulah vision, even
Yes.
when you're in the midst of Gullahs. I mean, it's amazing that that's where it started, and
You know what? What's
it's
really remarkable, she's the first one who was released too, by
Mhm.
being
Right.
telling the truth.
Yes. They respected her, and they saw she has strength that's beyond them.
Yes.
Right, and she was,
Yes.
and they listened. Like she even like said, I need kosher, and they got her whatever they got her, and so I need to wash my hands, and he said, you know where you are. You have to be like a little like under the situation. She said, well, what's the problem? The water is there. You just have to get it. Like she was very like,
Clear.
like I'm representing God here. No matter where I am, I'm representing God. And I think it's just, I'm giving that example because it's so extreme. And wherever we are, we're representing God in our little ways. And, nobody should go through that type of terrible situation, but she wouldn't, if she felt down, she envisioned something, or she just had to uplift her daughter, whatever it was, she was the one in power, like Yehuda, like I have Yehuda, and she's Yehudit.
Command
Right.
and control of yourself. That's what I was saying today. Yehuda was in command and control. And we could be in
Well, yeah.
where we are.
You can't go into fear, you can't go into victimhood, and it's not always easy. So I mean, no one should be put through that kind of challenge, but even in our daily challenge, to have that vision of we're representatives of Hashem here in this world, and be that light.
You know what else? This is another powerful thing, and that is that she was constantly trying to bring her daughter into Yiddishkeit, constantly, all the time she was downtown, and she couldn't even get her to come to a Shabbos. And one day she finally got her daughter to come for a Shabbos, and she came, and that was her mission in life, was to join with her daughter in Yiddishkeit. And I hope this helped. I mean, it would be powerful for the help.
Wow.
It must have helped to see her mother doing this.
Well, she saw her mother had that in her strength, and where did she get it? It came from her belief. And where did Rivka Ben Chion get her strength? It's from the Rebbe. It's from these.
That's right.
Exactly. From the Rebbe, his approach.
It's really beautiful because I'm sometimes totally blown away by how many people here that Rivka has influenced, because there's a lot, like a lot of my friends and a lot of people I know, like they all started with them. It's amazing. I didn't even know that Yehudit started with them because I met her when she was in Evanston. I didn't even know her back then, but it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Well, she was even in Evanston then. She was in Evanston then too, part of the time.
Here in LA.
Oh, okay, but I didn't know where she started.
One of my good friends here who I'm close to for 30 years, she also started off her journey in Yiddishkeit through the Benchins.
Oh, wow.
See,
I
look
know
at
who
this.
it was. It was Yaakov and Esther.
That's Esther.
So Esther. So Esther, Esther. Yaakov stayed with us once, Yaakov, her husband, when he came. But as far as Yehudit, I don't know if you saw that I was interviewed a lot, because once one interviews you for a newspaper, it a lot do. And the one thing that I said often was, if anybody would get out, it would be Yehudit. Because I know her strength, and she is something else, as you know, Fruma. And we're going to be there for a wedding. We're going to be there for a wedding pretty soon. Did you know that Elkins are, so we're going to be there for a wedding soon. So maybe we'll see you.
Is she engaged? Her daughter?
Yeah, she's engaged. She just got engaged. It was just announced. Sarah Rachel Elkins.
And where is she getting married? In Chicago?
Well, we don't know yet where she's getting married. She's having the l'chaim, but her husband, the husband is also from Highland Park, but he's in Chicago. He's in medical
They're both from
school.
Chicago, so it's very likely it will be in Chicago, but I don't know.
Right. Now they're in New York buying the shadel. They bought the shadel and the dress in New York, but they're coming back. So we're so excited because we've known her since she was born, and it's exciting.
Very exciting. Wow, I'm so happy to hear good news. See, we got to count these miracles.
Yes.
And she's engaged and she's getting married and she's not a hospital. Wow. It's in a wondrous way. They just
it's so uplifting, all this.
Did you say anything about why or how they were they were chosen to be taken out and released?
Fruma.
I think I really think it's her bitachon. She even told, like, one of the people in our little group of, that I'm part of with her, is very upbeat and very Geuladic and focused on Geulah. And she said like when she was feeling down at one point, she envisioned, she called her Leila saying to her, Yehudit, you gotta be happy. Mashiach's here. Geulah's coming. You gotta be happy. And she saw her there with her with that big smile on her face, and it lifted her up, and she felt that moment of simcha. And it was shortly after that she was released. So I really think that it's whatever was done behind the scenes. There's so many other people that weren't released. I think it's the bitachon. There's so many people were davening for her, for everybody, but the mezuzahs were, changed in our house, and we had gatherings where we just envisioned her coming out. Like, I think it was just having that type of, like, bitachon, and she had the bitachon, and we kind of had that. I think that you could say the gashmius, whatever it was, but I really think the ruchnius is what leads the way.
Yeah. And the ruchnius in the gashmius, because when people see ruchnius in gashmius, they say something must be wrong with you. Get out of here. You're free to go. I mean, I don't mean get wrong with you. That was a joke, but
she had a strength in her that they were afraid of, possibly.
She did. I mean, how could anybody be happy here?
She had a strength
It's like, we're not going to get you, so we can't get you. You're impossible to get.
Yeah, she had an inner strength that they could not control, or she was in command and control of her inner strength.
Right.
Yeah, and they couldn't control that, and that makes them not very easy. Doesn't make
Makes
it.
them not very easy. Yeah. And
Yeah.
Leah Kustiner, that's who's Leah, who goes, but Leah Kustiner called Yehudis' mother in Israel to ask how Yehudis was. And Yehudis was there. And so she told her that story. She said, you're coaching. She's a coach. She said, your coaching got me through it.
Really?
Yeah.
Coaches are good.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, especially with words like Leah's.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So let's keep that spirit and keep that tenacity, keep that strength, and pass it on to others.
Thank you, Fruma, for the stories of Yehudi.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And you could give her back the feedback that the more she tells her story, the more she'll encourage and strengthen other people too.
Oh my gosh, yes.
We need it, because we all need it, because they're bombarded with news that says, oh, how much can we, can we put up with, and what's going to be, and who's in power and who's in control. And we have to realize it's us who have the control. We have the power, but we have to keep reminding ourselves that we have the power.
Yes.
We don't have to be bogged down by what's news things and people's opinions and people's thoughts and people's attitudes or people's demonstrations. Even you have to just keep strong.
I'd say we have the choice to give God the power.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
and
God
we
has
have
the
to
power.
choose every moment to give God the power.
Yes.
We have to recognize that it's God who has power, right?
Right, and that God can work.
Absolutely, absolutely. No one has power, only Hashem.
Only Hashem has the power, but Hashem wants to work through us in this.
Yeah, let him work through us. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And we have the choice. That's our choice to let that happen.
It's our choice to
let that happen.
Let Hashem work through us or not. How are we going to reveal Hashem's strength, power in the world, and or not? Yeah, it's up to us. Wow.
Fruma, was Natalie with her? Was Natalie her
No,
daughter?
I think Natalie has not done any public things like that. And I think that makes sense. Like,
yeah,
but
yeah. Makes sense. It makes a lot of sense.
I mean, she was kind of overwhelmed because when she came, like, I don't know if she was prepared for like everybody's so excited, and it's such a powerful story that I think she was overwhelmed by, everybody being like, rah rah and getting that kind of attention.
Mm-hmm.
But but she definitely, her daughter's not in that, like, kind of, it's more private.
Yeah.
Right.
This story, it could tell Yehudit at least that it's giving us strength.
Yeah. Yeah, tell her that we.
My teacher came out of 20 years of Siberia, Gulag, of slave labor camps. The Rebbe told him to write his story, and he told him to write a book about it, and he did. And the reason is because it would give strength to people, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
And it still does.
It does.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. It's very true. I mean, her daughter's just a young teenager, though. I mean,
Tell Yehudit, she could write her story. That's what the Rebbe says here. Yehuda, the story is brought here because there's something in his strength that's giving us strength.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole picture that we're in right now. It's recorded, even though it seems like he didn't have so much power, or he wasn't necessarily needed. Yosef could have done it all, but he had to have an inner strength, and he had to have a conviction, and it had to be recorded, and it gave strength to he gave the strength to the Jewish people in Mitzrayim, and he's giving the strength to David Melech to be the king in the future. His courage. So his courage needed to be recorded in the parsha this week, and Yehudit's courage needs to be recorded. And
Yehudit is giving the class, so it's a lot of Yehudits and Yehudas.
Yeah, that's my middle name too. I got a lot of Yehudis
wow.
here. Right?
Wow, that's amazing, Fruma.
Oh, wow. If she doesn't want to do it herself, she can, I guess, maybe give it to us, and we need to spread her story. But it needs to get out. Her story needs to get out.
Yeah.
It just gave me strength. It gave you strength. It gave Chava. Why should we?
For sure. I'm so happy. I'm so excited. That made my day, Fruma. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're stronger than we realize, and we're bringing so much. The strength is what, our enemies just want us to be strong, and if we're strong, then they can't be our enemies.
Yes.
We just can't. We
Right.
can't. Right? They can't.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because when we show our weakness, then our enemies pop in.
Yes. Exactly. So, like,
That's our internal enemies too, not just
Internal,
external.
Yetzirah too, yes.
Yeah.
A lot of the hostages that came out that are being released are talking about how terrible it was and how we have to immediately give in to the enemy and right. Her voice is very important. Yehudit's voice of how she was strong, and they catered to her with her strength. That message needs to come out too, not just the other hostages' messages. Her message, especially since the other hostages had different experiences and they were living in fear and shame and you know they didn't have that inner strength that she had. So she needs to also say her story, especially now.
I can just hear her saying, I need to wash. Well, blah, blah, blah. Do you know where you are? Well, where's the problem? There's the water. I can just see her. Where's the problem? I don't see the problem. That is something.
Don't you love that? It was just so,
I
it
love
was
that.
awesome.
Right.
That is great.
Right.
Where's the problem? That's a good quote. Where's the problem? That's the title of her book.
Ma baya. Ma baya.
Yeah.
Which language did she speak to them? In Hebrew or in English?
She knows Arabic, a little Arabic. I think she spoke Arabic.
Very nice. Good for her. Yeah. So she showed them, yeah, you can do this. If she had fear, she wouldn't have even had the guts to even ask for anything, and she would have said, "Oh, you're right, you are in control."
She just said, "Where's the problem? I need kosher food. What's the deal? I mean, come on already." So what? We're here in a tunnel and blah blah blah.
Yeah. I love it. Please encourage her. And if she can't do it, she needs to get it out to somebody like Chavarachel to write her story and to publicize her stuff.
I'll
feel
mention
like
it
giving
to Leia's very close with her. I'll ask Leia.
Leia, who?
Yeah, even just an article.
Christina.
I'd love to help her. I'd love to write an article with her if she would like to. Not even.
Okay.
I think a book's kind of hard to think of at first.
Yeah. Right, but just to get out the message of
Absolutely, her story.
keeping your inner strength no matter what you're through, always having that, like, no one could take your spirit away. Oh, okay, I gotta go. My doctor's here. Okay.
Okay. Wow, your doctor's here.
Be well.
Comes to you.
All the best. A Geulah day.
To you too.